الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب صدق الله العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله نويت سنة الاعتقاد. Respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, first and foremost, my sincere gratitude and thanks to you all for attending this event, this short introduction, short talk on tasawwuf, on Sufism. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the Imam and the staff here at Jamia Hanafiya Masjid, and in particular to Brother Ghazanfar, who has been instrumental in ensuring that this event takes place. Hopefully, if all goes well, inshallah ta'ala, the actual speech itself, I don't want it to go more than about 50 or 55 minutes. And then thereafter, immediately after the talk, there will be an opportunity for you all to ask questions that you have related to the talk that inshallah I will give. To the best of my ability, I will try to answer your questions. If because of my own shortcomings, because of my ignorance, if I am unable to do so, then I will certainly leave behind an email and I will try to get the answer to you. As Brother Ghazanfar mentioned earlier, this presentation is supplemented by a handout. So if you are on his mailing list, then immediately after the program, you will receive a detailed copy, where the actual detail and the commentary is, the references, that will actually be provided in this handout. So if you are on his mailing list, then immediately after the program, you will receive that. There are a small number of paper copies, but I would say that there are only a few. So only take that if you are not on his mailing list. There's a lot to get through, so inshallah ta'ala we'll make a start, and we'll begin just by giving a brief outline of what we want to cover in this brief program. Firstly, and quite logically, what we'll do is, because we're talking about Sufism, an English term, and the Arabic equivalent is tasawwuf. That's the name of the actual discipline itself. And a person who is an advocate, who shows leniency towards this discipline, is known as a Sufi. We'll start by looking at where this term actually comes from. Where does the word Sufi in Arabic actually derive from? And rather than just a pointless academic exercise, we will see, inshallah, that it has some relevance and importance to where the actual discipline came from. So we will add to our understanding of what the actual discipline is about. Importantly, the second section will look at where we can derive teachings of Sufism from the Quran and Sunnah. An important question, because then we can actually decide and evaluate whether this discipline, whether tasawwuf is something new in Islam, or whether we can actually trace it back to the Quran, take it back to the teachings of our Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Then very briefly, I probably won't spend so much time on this. I'll give you a quick outline, a chronological account of the first 500 years of Sufism. What kind of process did it go through? What kind of highs and lows the discipline actually experienced? To be impartial and to be fair, although myself personally I am a keen advocate of the tasawwuf, I will give you both sides of the story. And I will show you how the discipline has been criticized by certain people throughout history. So that you have a balanced picture of what is beneficial in this field and what is detrimental and what we should perhaps stay away from. And then near the end, at the end, we will finish and we will evaluate what we have learned. And we will have some concluding remarks about what Sufism is. To begin with then, let's start with the origins of the word. Where does the term tasawwuf or Sufi actually come from? I will share with you about 5 or 6 opinions as to where the word actually comes from in Arabic. And each one of them has its worth, and as we go along, what we will do is we will just give a brief outline of it. What's good about this interpretation, what's bad about it. Why each interpretation has its benefits, and why each one has its flaws as well. The first opinion, according to many scholars, according to the likes of Bishr al-Haris, a great Sufi himself, this opinion states that the word tasawwuf or Sufi comes from the Arabic for purity, cleanliness, which is safa, quite closely related to the Urdu word safa. So on this basis, the whole discipline takes its name from the word in Arabic which means purity, whiteness, cleanliness. Why is it a famous hadith in which we can appreciate what it means in this context? Once the Prophet ﷺ, he appeared in front of his companions, and in a very bold statement, he told his companions, "Zahaba safwa dunya wa baqiya al-qidr." He said that the purity of the earth has disappeared, and all that remains is impurity. Qidr means death. فَالْمَوْتُ تُحْفَةٌ الْيَوْمُ تُحْفَةٌ لِكُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ. Today, because of this impurity that has overcome this world, death is actually a present, a gift for every single Muslim. Because it takes him a step closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it takes him away from the impurity of this world. So on this basis, according to this opinion, that Sufism takes its root from safa, purity. And certainly the aim of a Sufi, the aim of this discipline is to provide purity of mind, of body, of soul. That the whole purpose behind this position is to provide that cleanliness, that whiteness of the heart once again. The problem with this definition, grammatically speaking, from an Arabic linguistic point of view, from etymology point of view, the word which we derive Sufism from is taken from swad, waw, fa. Whereas safa is not actually taken from that. It sounds similar, but it's not the same. Safa purity comes from swad, fa, and hamza. So grammatically speaking at least, there are some shortcomings in this definition. This takes us on to the next definition, and this one is the majority opinion. Most of the scholars of Islam will argue that the word Sufism comes from the Arabic for wool, which is suf. And whereas before we pointed out that grammatically safa, the first opinion, does not match with it, with this it matches perfectly. Why? Because Sufi comes from swad, waw, fa, suf. Wool comes from swad, waw, and fa as well. So from a linguistic point of view, there is certainly weight in this argument. Why did it come from that? Why do you name a whole discipline, and why do you refer to certain people based upon wool? Well, in early Islam, I can't imagine that it's the case today in this day and age. In early Islam, wearing wool was a sign of humbleness and simplicity. It was a sign of, the lack of arrogance. Rather, it just showed that a person was just worrying about covering his body. That was the main aim of clothing, not a fashion statement. And what we find is that the reports, plenty of ahadith, which show that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions would wear wool. There's a hadith reported by Abu Musa al-Ashari radiallahu ta'ala, in which he described that the Prophet ﷺ would do 3 things. He would wear wool, he would ride donkeys, and he would respond to the invitation of the weak and poor people of society. All 3 suggest what? That he was very humble. He showed humility. Likewise, Hasan Basri, he reports that I met 70 companions who all participated in the Battle of Badr. And each one of all of these 70 companions, their clothing was nothing but wool. That they were wearing suf.